Hello and welcome. I'm Nicola. This is Waishee Radio, and I'm with Mitch from Unmasked Man. I met Mitch in Thailand on the Oman-based yoga retreat, and I've enjoyed talking to different people and finding out their perspectives and their journeys with body image and body confidence. As a body confidence coach, I'm still on this journey, and so I am really enjoying meeting other people to hear their perspectives and take a little bit of that home with me and also help my clients. Mitch has got an amazing story. I'd love for you to share it with us.
Yeah, thank you for taking this time to interview me. Yeah, 8 years ago I had a snowboard accident in France and I was left paralysed, and I thought I'd never walk again. There was a high chance I'd never feel anything from the neck down again. And I had a nine-hour operation. They took a bit of my hip, they made a bone graft in my neck, I had metal plates, and I broke 3 vertebrae in my back as well. And I did make a full recovery, but I do live with a lot of pain, and it was a long journey to get where I am now. I was at university at the time. I was studying sport. My life was fitness. I was playing first team rugby at university. I was modelling. My whole body was my life. I was really caught up in what I looked like and what a man was supposed to be like. And then suddenly everything was taken away from me, and I was paralysed. My hair fell out because of the stress of the accident. And yeah, it took me into some really, really dark places, and I really struggled to love myself. And the woman I was with at the time, my partner, she was incredible throughout that process, but I didn't feel like I could be a boyfriend to her anymore because she was like becoming my nurse. So I decided to break up with her, which was really tough for her. And then yeah, later on I found out that she had sex with this guy that was like everything that I was. He was a model, he was a beautiful man, really into fitness, and that really broke me because I felt really shit. I felt really worthless.
Were you not able to use your body at the time?
I was still healing from it. So I had a feeling again, but I couldn't lift my arms up, and I was kind of.
So did you ever know like the extent of how you were going to be?
No. It was like as days went on, it was like I didn't know if the full feeling would come back or it would stop at some point. So, yeah.
So do you feel like maybe you attach your identity to who you were, this good-looking man doing all this fitness stuff and all the validation that you get from society, fitting the beauty standards of the world, and then it's all taken away from you? Did you feel like you lost your identity a little bit?
Yeah. Who I thought I was Mitch, rugby player, the certain image, and then when all of that got taken away, it was like, who am I anymore? I always relied on how I looked to receive love and validation, and that got sort of taken away.
I think it's interesting to point out because a lot of people are working on trying to fit the beauty standards, and when in the fitness industry people come into the gym and say, you know, make me look like this, I want to lose weight and whatever, because that's what we're always told you should do, which I've been trying to defy that and help people to feel confident in their current bodies and just base it on what they can do with their body rather than what it looks like. But I feel like there must be a lot of pressure as well when you fit the beauty standards to stay that way, because you've got all that validation, you've got wherever you've got because of it, and then if you lose that, then who are you? So when you lost all of that and felt like you didn't know who you were anymore, how did you build that back up? And then what was your relationship with your body once you started getting back to normal?
I've never truly accepted how I looked, even before my accident. I was always at school. I didn't feel good enough, and I've always looked at other people and compared myself to them. And then I still feel like that now. It's like I'm still healing these wounds of accepting myself, because I'm not going to probably be as I was before. And I might be, but I have to let go of that and love and accept myself for who I am now. And I've definitely come a long way with that, but I still struggle. There's still a part of me that feels like a man in some ways looks like this or should be powerful. And yeah, I'm still caught in that trap a little bit, but I'm trying to move through.
Didn't you have like a completely new perspective of your body though, like appreciation for your actual physical body and what you were able to do, having it all taken away from you?
Yeah, just to be able to feel and walk and live was just a gift, and my whole life changed after that accident. And I went on a real journey of healing and like a spiritual journey of growth, I guess. And I was a very different person to before. I was drinking beer and playing rugby and fighting, and now I feel like I live the most amazing life. And I'm not stuck in those destructive thought patterns I was in before. But I still see like the old self, like the voice that says, "Oh, you need to be like this, or you're not enough of that, or you don't move like them." I'm just trying to be gentle. I think there's also like a healthy voice that inspires us and moves us forward, but then there's that other voice that is trying to take us down.
There's that line, isn't there? What's healthy? How much should I push myself? We had this today when we were training in the gym, which I'm going to clip into this video. And I think we both had that sort of competitive edge of like, I want to push myself. You asked me to do a challenge, and so I was well up for the challenge and wanting to do more. You said do something for 3 minutes, I did it for 6 minutes, then you did it for 6 minutes. So it's still there, and that was fun, and it was like a healthy competition. But me personally, this is why I can't go to places like CrossFit, because I feel that it would be unhealthy for me. So it's knowing yourself, isn't it, and where you're at in your journey. Maybe at one point I could be so fine with that type of competition that I could go and do CrossFit and be fine with it. But I know that at the moment, I don't want to. I don't think it'd be healthy for me. How do you manage that in the gym, especially when you train with other men? Like you do a lot of work with men.
If I go to like a bodybuilder gym and I see like, and it's like it's a very sort of vain sort of feeling to it, and it's very ego-centered, then I can start to feel that not good enough energy. But like the gyms here in Thailand, and I don't know, I just get a different vibe, and I train a lot outside on my own, so I'm not like in this competition as well.
Do you feel like when you're in the gym and there's lots of people around you, they stigmatise you or assume certain things about you by the way that you look?
Yeah, a lot of people don't see what's gone on inside. They don't see the breaks. I've broken like 21, 22 bones. I broke my neck when I was 16 as well. I've had one of my testicles removed. I got told I had cancer, and I didn't have cancer. It's like my body has been through so much trauma that people just project that everything's good, right? And that's hard because people don't. It's hard maybe for them to empathise with what I'm really truly. I also I see that no matter how muscular I am or how fit or whatever, it's never enough. Because I've still got that wound of not being good enough. It doesn't matter how.
Is it never enough for you, or never enough for society?
Well, I think I bought into that idea that I'm not enough. I think inherently everybody is enough just as they are. Like we wouldn't tell like a little child that they're not enough. But why would we tell that to ourselves? It's like this learned belief that we're not good enough. It's like I see this with the men I work with. That there's this deep core wound of not being enough. So that pushes us to do these things that we think will get us love and validation and the feeling of being enough. But ultimately, it never ends. It's a never-ending thing. No matter how shredded you get in a gym, no matter how many push-ups you can do and handstands and be the best in the yoga class, if you still got that feeling of not being good enough that comes from that early childhood wound, you're never going to be good enough.
Because you have to have self-love, because it's only you that can give it to you, isn't it? And then other people reflect it to you. Because otherwise, if you get it from everyone else, it means that they can also take it away.
If you try to get things outwardly and you're not doing it inwardly, it's never going to work.
Like when I did bodybuilding, and I thought that that would be my destination, the perfect body, and that would make me happy, but then I got there and it still wasn't enough. I wanted to be bigger, better, stronger, do more. That's when I realised it was an inside job.
Yeah, an inside job, I love that. Yeah, I look at like so many elite athletes and bodybuilders and people look up to them like, wow, they must be so happy, look at how they look, and I guarantee that 99% of them are feeling probably insecure and not being good enough, and just like looking at some of the muscles that just aren't quite how they want them, and always scrutinizing. So then we project onto them that their life must be amazing, and I want to be like that. But yeah, I don't think it's the case.
So how has your experience with your body helped you to not judge other people or stigmatise other people? Or has it?
I still judge people. I still notice the wound inside of me that is judgmental. judgmental, and I'm really trying to heal that. And because when I judge someone outwardly, I'm judging myself, and I still judge myself. So I really try, and when I'm compassionate to other people's journeys and and hold them with compassion, I can do that to myself. I'm really trying to work through judgment of others, but I'm not completely there yet.
So how have you felt this experience you've had in Thailand, like meeting me, hearing about my journey and speaking to all the other people that we've had around us, and body image has been quite a big thing that's been discussed. How has that made you feel?
Well, I was really inspired by, because you've been to like competing in bodybuilding is like taking that to the extreme. I've never gone really to that extreme, and to see you now and like the playfulness in the gym but having the fun, like you bringing the fun to it, and your journey with that and your self-love journey is so, I love that. It's so inspiring, and I think we've all come together to support each other in that, and I think we're all on that journey. I think we've all pushed ourselves hard. We probably all felt not good enough, and I think that we're now showing each other and supporting each other.
Isn't it amazing though when you look at someone else and you're like, you're so great, you are enough, but you don't feel like that about yourself, and then they flip it around and also don't feel like that?
The amount of men, like the core wound for most of the men I work with is not being good enough. And that not being good enough energy can show itself in different ways. Like we use the archetypes, I think I tell you, like we use the king archetype. The king archetype is a part of our psyche. We have the warrior, the magician, and the lover. But the king archetype is like, maybe call it soul. It's like the deepest truth within us. And the king energy wants to bless others, wants to lift people up, wants to share, and the king is compassionate to all of our inner parts, even the shadow parts, and also compassionate to other people. But the main wound of the king is this feeling of not being good enough, and like seeks to take the king off its throne. So that feeling of not being good enough stops us fully accessing our queen or king energy, which is like our most divine energy. And then that energy then can go into the inflated shadow of the king, which is the tyrant, which is, for a man, is the man that just pushes himself and wants to be the best and has to be the best. Maybe becomes the best football player or the politician, but they never feel good enough. It's like, no matter how much they do and they try. Or it goes into the deflated shadow. The weakling prince or the crumbling king is the man that just abdicates his throne. Is like, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I'm not even going to do that. I'm not even going to try. Why would I do that? They're so much better than me. I'm not going to do it. And just like kind of just doesn't bother. So it's like flipping into, I'm going to do as much as I can to be the best. Or the other side of it, like, I'm not even going to try. And I see that I'm bipolar between these sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to do everything. And then the next minute is like, I'm not good enough. And often when you're in the tyrant and trying really hard, there's a lot of anxiety. And then when you're in the abdicated, there's a lot of depression. And I flip between these anxious, depressive sometimes.
I totally get that. I actually feel like it's easier to do things in the extremes. Like we were saying before about having an eating disorder and being really strict with everything, counting every calorie, weighing all your food. Like the amount of mental discipline that it takes to have that, like it's hard to get into to begin with, but once you've done day one, it just is a roll-on effect from there. You feel great, you want to keep it going. And then there's the other side, the other extreme, where you just completely don't do anything and you think, fuck it, eat whatever. Yeah, but it's the balance in the middle, knowing that food is in abundance and all of this body image shit basically is living in the middle, knowing that I am enough and I can have balance with food and not judge myself or compare myself to other people, because you got to take your body wherever you go.
That's the middle way. It's like not.
Because I always feel like going to another country as well, like it's different everywhere you go, isn't it? And then there's new people to judge yourself against. But I like to have the experience of being in a new environment to pick stuff up and put stuff down. So meeting great people, great conversations, whether you all came from here or not, this is where it's happened, and I'm going to take that with me, and I'm also going to leave lots of shit here as well and go home different person.
And your transformation, just since you've been here and I've known you, and I see you every day coming more into your confidence, meeting all these different people and doing things like this, it's like so beautiful. And maybe some years ago you wouldn't have done that. I think it's so inspirational for people to witness this transformation.
Thanks. Well, I probably would have done it years ago, but I still would have the imposter syndrome. Like I still have it a little bit now, and I just have to watch it. So So rather than let it penetrate, I watch it go past, and then I'll still take the action I want to take.
Yeah, that feeling like, who am I to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I've done radio and TV things, and I watch them back, and I'm like, that's great. But I remember at the time feeling like this isn't good enough.
Yeah, I often watch myself back and scrutinise. I look at the flaws. I look at the things that haven't worked, and it's like, yeah, that perspective is really destructive when you focus on the things that aren't working in life. Like, I ask myself, like, am I focusing on the good stuff or the bad stuff? Like, where am I putting my energy? Am I looking at the beautiful things that I see inside of me, or am I looking at the bits that aren't always working? Yeah.
I think that's a nice take and ending to this video, actually, that like, we're not perfect, and there is no destination on perfect because the line always moves. So it's great to just be accepting of who you are and where you're at today, and look back at your journey where you've come and be proud of that.
Yeah, there's nowhere to get to. It's just like Alan Watts is always talking about, all there is to do is just to be alive. We as humans think we need to get there, like, once I get that or do this, then I'm gonna feel all these things, and it's like, it's all available right in this moment.
Yeah.
It's just about really receiving it and feeling it.
So if there's any final thoughts that you'd like to leave for men, really, because obviously you do a lot of work with men, I do a lot of work with women with body image, and people always say to me, oh, but you know, my daughter doesn't suffer with that, but my son does, and it's such a big thing for guys. Is there any thoughts that you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, well, with the men, we take men on retreats and we do coaching, we do online circles, and we try and get to the core beliefs and the core wounds that, like, the not feeling good enough, like looking at that, like, okay, where in your childhood did that belief system, when did you adopt that? And then when you get to the roots and you pull those out and you look at the fundamental core beliefs of people, then the real healing can start. So we try and get deep and find out where this really first started, and heal that, release that energy, and then it's like men can start to really live their lives from a different place.
Because it's never about the body, is it? It's never about the food. That's just the thing that you focus on, and it's all those layers underneath.
There's something deep inside that's going to keep showing itself in so many different ways unless it's felt, seen, and released. So that's what we encourage men to do, and that can be incredibly difficult and painful. But when it's released and you express and you heal those parts, you see the whole life changes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Mwah.
How do you feel knowing that Nicola did 6 minutes and it was your challenge to do 3 minutes?
Or you need to move your head like you mean it.